Do now, think positive podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome again to Do Now.
Think Positive Podcast.
I am FendiPendi here, your creative content coach.
And my name is Philip Tan. Today we have our guest. Her name is Nicole. She is the clinical psychologist. Yeah, welcome to the channel.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, so as a first question for you is that what actually happens in the therapy sessions when your client is actually grieving, not in the textbook way, just in your own words, how do you actually handle them? Yeah.
So, to understand grief, first of all, grief is an experience that most of us will have to come face to face with some of the big questions in life. Like, I'm sure that all of us here experience some loss, not just loss over death, but loss of a job or a friendship, or it can be a breakup, any kind of loss. Grief is an experience where it will make us question, like, why is this happening to me? What does that mean? What's the point of all this? Or what happens after death, if we're talking about grief that's regarding to death, right? So in therapy sessions, as clinical psychologists, we don't just teach them or give advice to them, like, oh, how do you feel better from grief? But we create a space to help them find meaning of the loss.
Okay. Like, I don't know about you, but when does therapy exist actually? During my grandmother's time, they don't have that therapy session,
Yeah.
Is it like a Gen Z problem?
For grief, it's something that we have experienced
All the time.
Yeah, throughout our life. It's definitely not just a Gen Z issue, but I would say
But how comfortable are people talking about this to
a
strangers,
therapist, right?
a therapist or whatever?
Yeah.
Because I think the word therapist doesn't really, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Only, in Malaysia itself,
Ah.
psychotherapy is only there's more awareness to psychotherapy only in the past 2 decades, I would say. Yeah, even for the courses that offer this study opportunities also, like the Clean Site Masters program, also only recently we have more universities offering it. So I would say it is still on the way to bring more awareness. That's why we also would like to do this podcast to share to more people. But definitely it is something, if we talk about in terms of culture, right? Grief itself, it is not something comfortable to talk about. Yeah, when would people know when to seek help? That is also something that we need to do the work to bring more awareness, to tell them you don't have to go through this journey alone. Yeah.
But Nicole, I always love to ask this question is that as a therapist, you hold space for your clients when they're grieving, right? It's not easy, right? I mean, you also human being, you also have
Correct.
emotions, you also have feelings. So one day itself, you probably see a few clients. Will you be affected? And then you got to hold the space for so many of your clients. And I think that's not easy, right?
You're right. So as a human, we do feel the emotion as well, but we can utilize this emotion that we feel to make it beneficial to the session itself. So it's not about what we feel. It's about how do we feel the emotion. It can make the client feel that we are very present in the session. When we feel the same heaviness and sadness, it can make them feel listened to. We can also use that to help to hold the client hand in the session. And to answer your question, like how do we handle as a professional, we have to be mindful of our own emotion regulation as well.
Right.
Mm.
Especially when the topic resonates with you, I think it's not easy.
We always have to keep it in mind that the session is about the client. It's not about us. We may have experienced the same or similar situation, but we will never use it as a blueprint to tell the client how they should deal with grief.
Who are more easily to open up? Like today's generation, I think more easily to open up. Like my father generation, myself even, find it quite difficult to share.
I wouldn't categorize like which people open up more, because it depends on the dynamic that the client and therapist have as well. So I have encountered clients in their 60s or 70s. They can open up to me, but never to anyone around them. But because we have built the trust and the connection in the session.
Yeah, probably rightly you said trust.
Mm.
But I think basically it's quite interesting because Then how do clinics manage their own emotion? Again, I ask this question, especially when you're going to find a very aggressive client. Maybe they probably get very emotional. Will you be affected?
We will as a human, but with training and after being so many years in the session, right?
Right.
We are used to expect, sometimes things can be a surprise to us. Yeah, but we always wear the therapist hat to remember that we have to handle this professionally. It's not about us, it's not attacking us, but let's say aggressive client, they show certain emotions for a reason. A lot of the times we tend to look at the underlying cause.
Right. Because I had another friend, also a clinical psychologist. So she has a client and quite violent because I think and he doesn't have a fatherly love. So he was assigned to me. I'd be the mentor to him. So I brought him out all the time, and during some of the sessions, he got very, very violent, wanting to fight. So I guess if you're not trained, it's not easy to manage. Manage.
We set boundaries to protect ourselves too. So in the beginning of the session, we have to lay out what are the policy, what are the expectations, and also what we can do, what we cannot do. That's why the sessions has to be held in a specific space, like in a therapy room.
Right.
Cannot be in a cafe because that will be crossing the boundaries. And sometimes when things like this happen, we cannot then, also help the client already. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'm going to ask you a very broad question. How long do you think a person will be kind of get over the
Recover?
Yeah, recover.
For grieving specifically, right? So here's the thing. Grief is a very unique experience to everybody. Some people take a few months. Some people has to take a few years. But what we understand is grief is not like there is an end. Yeah, we'll always grieve, but doesn't mean that we will be in pain all the time. It's just that the way we grieve can be very different in every different chapters of life.
Right. So let's say, for example, you got elderly clients, say in the 60s, 70s. Would they feel that you're too young to handle it?
That's a very good question. Yeah, so I think it's about how we carry ourselves in the room. Yeah, when we're in that room, there's a no judgment space. It doesn't matter what race, what age, what background we are from, but they know that we are playing the role as a listening ear. So the way we carry ourselves also give them the confidence to know that I think Nicole understands me.
Okay.
I can tell her about this. So we use the first session to build rapport. And usually my clients never question or ask or even ask about my age.
I guess this would be some of the common judgment.
You're right.
So usually they come there and they just express themselves and they just listen and give advice.
So in the beginning, some of the clients will be more reserved. They will test the water first. So it depends on how we handle that and how we build the connection. Once the connection is built, you will see, in psychodynamic perspective also, all of us have a child in us. So sometimes my clients can be in their 70s, but in front of me, they are a child again. Because outside of the session, we don't know each other. There is no need for them to hold an image.
That's true.
So why is it important to do counseling?
I wouldn't say it is something that everybody has to do. It's just an additional support if you need a space to understand your own thoughts or to actually speak to someone to figure something out. There is always this kind of service.
Why can't they speak to their own family members or mother or wife or whatever?
If they can, of course, it's a good social support, but not everybody is trained or not everyone is ready to play the role, to be a listener. And sometimes we are afraid to be a burden to our family member. We don't want them to worry, especially in our culture. We tend to keep emotional things to ourselves. Like when it comes to grief, a lot of my clients will tell me that they may cry together, but they never share what it meant or how they think about this loss. So it can feel very lonely in the journey. That's why I would say I wouldn't call ourselves as important, but we can be helpful to help an individual to make sense of this loss.
I have a question for you, Nicole. Do you think that therapy session is much better than medications like anti-suppressant,
anti-depression,
tablets and other medication, Western medication?
That is a very good question as well. Usually we advise the client to come to a clinical psychologist first, so we assess whether there is a need for medication, because sometimes there are people who are more resistant because they have associated medication, means like they are having sickness or problem, but actually medication does help to alleviate the symptoms, but it would be better if it's paired with a talk therapy so that they learn how to use their own mental power to fight off any challenges in life.
So Nicole, supposedly you have a client of yours, right? You have been counseling for a couple of months and they kind of recovered. 6 months or 1 year down the road, you see them outside in the cafe and they're responding very well, and how would you feel?
Oh, of course, I will feel good and happy for them. Yeah. Is that
especially you see he or she is your clients, and then they are doing so well because you give them the therapy. I think that's a kind of satisfaction is really priceless.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it is true. But it's very rare that it happened. I don't know why. Until now, I haven't really bumped into any of my clients yet. But I suppose if I imagine, I'll feel really happy for them.
I think so. I think so. Okay. Another question to phrase is that how many of your clients, in terms of percentage, has relapsed?
Oh, I would like what I've talked about grief, just now. It's not something that has an end, like depression, anxiety. It is not it's not necessarily like a disorder, but it is something that we experience as human. The key is how are you going to manage it? Yeah. So relapse wise, right? We don't really look at it as
don't call it a sickness.
They fall back into it, but more like sometimes it can be tougher. Like for example, if you lose a parent or you lose your spouse, then you will find yourself more anxious or depressed. Then of course, it's not a relapse. It's just that it's a difficult period of time, and if they knew or remembered what we have already established in our previous sessions, then they can handle and manage it better. Yeah, but if let's say they find themselves being lost again, it's not really a relapse also, but it's just that during that period of time, they need extra support.
Yeah. And in your personal capacity, you have seen quite a number of clients. In terms of the hardest grief to get over, would you think loss of loved one or loss of property assets? Or
I would say it's the loss of child, your own child. That is the toughest. To make meaning of it, to be okay to live without the disease, to have a new routine.
With a child, I guess so. Yeah, it's not easy to cope.
That is the toughest session I had, the heaviest that maybe because I'm also a mom, so I can really feel this feeling very strongly.
Child rather than your parents.
Yeah, it's a different kind of grief, but I wouldn't compare which one is more painful.
Yeah, of course. I mean, all are
painful.
Painful. But then among all the painful, which will give you the
the heaviest
to handle it. So loss of child. Okay, interesting. Yeah. So Nico, thank you. We are coming to the end of the session. So perhaps you'd like to let the viewer knows a bit more about clinical psychology, what is a holding room, what holding space, therapy, and they love to hear from you.
Okay. Hello everyone. So my name is Nicole Tan. I'm a clinical psychologist and also the co-founder of We Rather Be. So today we talk about grief, right? And I guess when it comes to grief, what we do as a clinical psychologist is to help clients find meaning to the loss. At the same time, learn how to grieve in a healthy and also meaningful way to remember their loved ones, but still be able to function in their life. So I want to focus on this idea of finding meaning. I think it is not just applicable on grief work, but it is also something that a lot of us are looking for. Like when you start a job or you start a business, you are looking for the meaning of doing it. You need to know the purpose of why you want to put in all your time and effort into this. That's why I think finding meaning is something that us as psychotherapists, clinical psychologists offer, to help you to understand what is your personal strengths and what is the value that you value in life. And in this space, we will also help our clients to identify their passion and how their passion can be a reality. And finding meaning is something very personal. It is not something that we can copy from someone else's story. So hopefully, if you guys are listening to this, I hope to open up your mind and also your awareness to what psychotherapists can offer. We don't only see clinical disorders cases, but we also help individuals to find meaning, their own unique meaning in their life. Thank you.